Hi everyone, I'm Amanda Mills. I am the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Stony Brook University. I would like to be one of the many people congratulating you on admission to Stony Brook this year. It's been an exceptional year for undergraduate admissions at Stony Brook, and we're really excited to welcome new Seawolves to campus in August. This presentation is co-hosted by admissions and campus residences. They have a lot of information to share, and then we have time for your questions. You can use the Q&A to ask questions, and just enjoy the presentation. I'll hand it over to Shale.
Hello everyone, and as Amanda said, congratulations. We will quickly go over introductions on our end before we start with the presentation. And so my name is Shal Shah. I am the coordinator for data analytics and system design, and I work over with the housing admin team at Camp Res. I have a few of my colleagues who I will let introduce, and then we also have two students, current students, as part of this panel who I will let introduce as well. So Margaret and Tonya.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Margaret Wood McGrath. I am one of the two marketing and communications coordinators for campus residences, and happy to be here. And again, congratulations.
Hi everyone, my name is Antonia Berry and I am the other marketing communications coordinator for Camp Res with the housing admin team. Congratulations to everyone. We're happy to answer any questions you have today. Yeah.
I can go ahead and introduce myself, but hi everyone, thank you so much for coming. I'm Samama. I did my undergraduate here in economics and I'm doing my MBA. I'm also a resident assistant and a marketing assistant under Margaret and Antonia.
Hi everyone, my name's Lindsay. I'm also an RA on campus, which is a resident assistant, and I also work in the housing admin office, and I'm currently a senior at Stony Brook University.
Right, thank you. So we're going to get started with a video presentation, and then we'll go over our website, and then we will open up to the Q&A after we finish those.
Welcome, Seawolves. We are thrilled to have you as a member of our residential community. On behalf of campus residences, I welcome you to your new home at SBU. Choosing to live on campus is important for your success, both academically and personally. Whether you are a first-year, transfer, or graduate student, living on campus contributes to your personal growth by developing skills, learning more about your university and its resources, interacting with a diverse group of people, and determining your path forward. We have 62 residence halls and apartments, which house more than 10,000 students on campus. This is supported by 95 professional staff and 650 student employees. Our campus also offers a variety of living communities.
Undergraduate housing options encourage engagement and connection by providing a corridor-style experience. These corridor-style communities are designed to foster and enhance connection among first-year students. Your communities, Mendelssohn H. and Roosevelt, are each partnered with an undergraduate college known as a UGC, which combines your residential and academic experience. Our UGCs amplify student success and facilitate interaction between academic and residential communities. Each UGC has academic advisors who serve as vital resources for students. They provide academic advice, connect students to opportunities for campus and community involvement, and help guide you on your Stony Brook journey. Each residence hall is staffed with a team of resident assistants known as RAs and a residence hall director known as an RHD. RAs and RHDs are responsible for supporting their residents by means of community engagement and upholding community standards. For more information on undergraduate colleges, scan the QR code or visit the link below. For returning students, we have a variety of programs that combine residential living and community engagement.
Second-year students can apply to our second-year living community, also known as 2YLC. Housed in Lauterbur Hall, these students will participate in activities geared to their personal growth. Third-year students can apply to our Socially Just Seawolves or Chavez Community Changers programs held in Tubman and Chavez Halls. Socially Just Seawolves will engage in topics centered around social, economic, and political inequalities in our communities. Chavez Community Changers will explore concepts centered around volunteerism, activism, and civic engagement.
Any student returning to campus housing after their first year can choose to live in one of our suite-style communities located in Kelly, Roth, and Tabler. These communities contain common areas, double rooms, and in-suite bathrooms. In addition to our returner communities, some third and fourth year students have the opportunity to live in West Apartments, Chavez Hall, and Tubman Hall. West Apartments feature both single and double rooms with shared bathrooms, an open living and dining room, and an apartment kitchen. Chavez and Tubman Halls feature single occupancy suite style rooms. Our residential communities include accommodation-based housing for students registered with the Student Accessibility and Support Center, several gender-inclusive housing communities across campus, and graduate housing in Chapin and Schaumburg apartments. For more information about these communities, please visit the question and answer table.
Safety of our residents is a priority in campus residences. We are devoted to ensuring a healthy and safe environment for those who live with us. Our Residential Safety and Support Services Office promotes personal responsibility, fire safety, and life safety in partnership with University Police. The Residential Safety Program, also known as RSP, includes overnight security and testing of life safety devices. Throughout residential areas, RSP performs foot patrol, checks all exterior doors to ensure all access systems are operational, and provides escorted walks across campus for all students. Stony Brook University Police Department is a fully accredited police force that operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Students are encouraged to sign up for emergency notification systems such as SB Alert and SB Guardian. SB Alert notifies you via text or email immediately if a major event or emergency occurs on campus.
Over 425 student clubs and organizations are available on campus. Students can visit the SB Engage website or download the Quark app to find out what events and organizations are happening on campus. Every year, our residence halls and apartments host over 3,800 events and community initiatives, as well as campus-wide programs and activities geared towards helping students become more involved on campus. Our hall councils are student-led groups within each residence hall. They work together to voice their opinions and develop plans and programs for improving the community. They're overseen by the Residence Hall Association, which represents all students living on campus. Participating in your building's hall council provides you with the opportunity to get to know community members, learn leadership skills, stay up to date with campus events, and participate in planning programs.
A variety of facilities enhance the residential experience in every community, including computing centers, fitness centers, recreational lounges, study spaces, laundry rooms, and more. Every student room is also equipped with wired and wireless internet access that can be used to access several services, including Seawolf Cinema, a movie streaming service exclusive to residential students. Additionally, several mailrooms are located across campus that residents can use to send and receive packages and letters. Prospective students interested in applying for on-campus housing can do so through the Stony Brook Housing Portal. Housing applications for incoming first-year and transfer students currently open in April.
Stony Brook's vibrant residential community continues to grow, and with high demand for on-campus housing, priority is given to as many students as possible. Students whose home address is within a 30-mile radius of campus are eligible to submit a housing deposit. However, the housing application process will proceed after campus residences assesses housing demand. In the event that housing demand exceeds available space, some rooms will be temporarily tripled to accommodate more students. Those assigned to a temporary triple will receive a discounted housing rate. For more information, scan the QR code or visit the link below.
A brand new residential community is on the way. Seawolves Village is expected to open between mid-November and late January, adding 492 beds in corridor-style residences with air conditioning. Students in temporary triples or impacted by the radius policy at the time of Seawolves Village's opening will have the opportunity to be housed in this new community as space becomes available. More details will be shared as the opening gets closer. Stay tuned.
In addition to helping you succeed as a student, living on campus can help you get ahead. You can meet your future best friends, save time on commuting, and connect with a diverse community of Seawolves. Let Stony Brook University guide you through the next chapter of your life by being a resident Seawolf. We look forward to seeing you at Stony Brook University and welcoming you home.
All right, so that was our video presentation. Just as a recap, if anyone would like to review the video at their own time, it is posted on our YouTube page on SBU Campus Residences. So you can definitely look at it over there again if you'd like to review any of the information that we went over. Before we jump into the Q&A, we are quickly going to review our Campus Residences website for the new student housing application, which is an extremely important resource that you all can utilize as you are preparing to come to Stony Brook and completing all the required steps to make sure you are all settled in and done before your arrival in August. So we're quickly going to share our screen for the website. And while Margaret pulls that up, I will mention that the SBU website for campus residences has a wealth of knowledge from everything to application information, to move in, move out information, items that you should be bringing to campus or that are recommended to bring to campus, our terms of occupancy, all of our student services, and a lot of other things, along with virtual tours, our room rates, and things of that sort. So as you do decide to come to Stony Brook, I would definitely encourage you to review this information by yourself, but with anyone that is supporting you in your college journey, as it does involve a lot of important information that can help throughout. So on this website, currently what you are seeing is the home page of the website, but if you hover over housing and then click on apply to housing, and then scroll down and click on New Student Fall Admit. That takes you to our webpage for the Fall New Student Housing application. And this webpage pretty much includes all relevant information that you would need as it pertains to your housing app. I will mention, very important, that our housing application for next fall is already live. It went live last Monday, and many of our students who are eligible have already started completing the application. So if you are someone that is still considering Stony Brook, please know that the application has already gone live. In order to get access to the application, your first step would be to pay the housing deposit, and that deposit deadline is the same date as your deposit to the university, which is May 1st at 11:59 p.m. for undergraduate students. And so definitely, as you can see, a lot of important application dates and deadlines on this webpage. And then the other date I will mention is the application deadline for new first-year students, which is June 11th at 4 p.m. So May 1st and June 11th are two important dates that you want to mark on your calendar and making sure that you're meeting them and completing all required steps. If you scroll slightly further down, we do provide you with more information on how to pay the housing deposit or terms of occupancy and things like that. But we also provide a lot of specific information based on your student demographic. And so if you were to expand the new first year student information dropdown, you then get answers to some very specific questions as to where you will live, when you will select a room assignment, how you can form groups, where you will live, and things of that sort. And so reviewing this is helpful as you guide the application and navigate through that. And then our last section over here is about gender inclusive housing. So anyone interested in that can review more information. If you were to scroll all the way up, Margaret, on this website, what I want to point out is that all housing applications and processes take place in the housing portal. So on the very top of our website is the link to the Stony Brook Housing Portal, and that uses a student's net ID and password to log in. So once you do get admitted as a student, I believe it typically takes 3 to 5 business days to get your net ID. And once you have that, you will be able to log into the housing portal to complete any applications. And then in addition to the Fall New Student Housing app, the other quick web page that I will go over or just mention is the one for our virtual tours. Or if you want to quickly just navigate to that one. So again, under housing, virtual tours, and then we also, so on this page, if you click on the expandable or the accordion, it shows you virtual tours of our very common room types, which is what is available across most of our housing inventory. So in the case of new first years, you would be overviewing these room types, and it gives you a very general sense of what you can expect across different rooms of a similar configuration. So in housing app website and the virtual tours are a very good combination as you prepare to come to Stony Brook. All right. Any housing admin folks, anything else to add? No? Okay. Then with that, I think we are ready to jump into the Q&A. And I've been seeing it from the beginning and it's been going off. So that's good. A lot of questions.
Yeah, we have some really good questions. I hope you guys are ready. Some of these questions were submitted as you were, as the video played and as you reviewed the website, but we can just start at the beginning. And the first question that was submitted is it possible to choose where you live or what dorm you live in?
Yeah, so new first year students, as part of the application process, actually select their exact bed space. And so, like I mentioned, the application right now is live, but at this point, you're only completing some of the initial steps of the application, like signing the agreement, meal plan selection, roommate suite mate preferences, and all of that. But towards the end of May is when the actual selection of spaces begins for new first year students. And so at that point, students would go back into their application, select the exact bed space that they want to be in based on what is available in the housing inventory at that point in time.
All right. And another good question, are students from honors and scholars in the same residence halls?
Yep. So
I don't know if they're talking about scholars, Simon STEM scholars or university scholars, but
yeah, I'll probably mix in all of those. But our honor students and Simon STEM Scholar students live in Yang Hall, whereas our university scholars and WISE honor students live in Eleanor Roosevelt community. So those are different locations, so they would not be staying in the same residence hall or community.
okay. And if I am offered admission to University Scholars Honors Program, but I want to live with a friend who isn't in an honors program, is that possible?
Yeah, so this is a very common question we get. And so I just want to preface this by saying that anyone admitted to the honors program or Simon STEM scholars is completely different. They only live in Yang Hall, and so they cannot have anyone as a roommate who was not admitted to that program. However, university scholars and WISE honors who live in the Eleanor Roosevelt community, they are able to pull in non-scholars or non-Y students and live with them. Essentially, as part of the application, both of these students would form a roommate group in the application. And then the scholar student or the Y student would be the one making the roommate selection or the room selection, sorry, because they are only limited or restricted to the Roosevelt community. And so they would go in, pick a room that has 2 open spaces, and then assign a bed space to both of the students in the group and then confirm their selection.
I just muted myself. Where do engineering students live? And part 2, how does one become an RA in their sophomore year?
Okay. So engineering students, there isn't really a specific community most first-year students are encouraged to live in the residence hall that corresponds with their undergraduate college. And so H community corresponds with the GWC, which is Global Health Wellness Community. Mendelssohn corresponds with SJE, which is Social Justice, Equity, and Ethics. And then Eleanor Roosevelt corresponds with CTI, which is Creativity, Technology, Innovation. And so in that sense, I do not believe the College of Engineering students fall in a specific bucket. And so you were able to pick from any of the three first-year communities that you prefer, which being Mendelssohn, H, or Eleanor Roosevelt. And then to answer your second question of becoming an RA, I will answer briefly, but then let maybe someone else chime in on that. But essentially, the RA hiring process begins in the fall semester. So towards the end, pretty much in October or November, they will start hosting info sessions. And then that is when the first part of the application for RA goes live. And then in the following spring semester, spring 26, anyone who makes it past the first round will be invited to do an in-person interview with professional staff and the hiring committee. And then beyond that, they would then be notified if they are hired as an RA for the 2026-2027 academic year or not. But would anyone else like to add anything to the RA hiring process?
I can quickly add that there is a meeting that you have to attend the semester before you would ideally become an RA, or if you're accepted to become an RA, and it tells you all about the role, what it would entail, kind of things to watch out for in regards to your academic schedule and whether or not this is a good fit for you. And then you go into actually filling out the application, going into rounds of interview, and then usually around March, the semester before, you'll find out whether you got accepted or if you're waitlisted, or if this wasn't a great fit, and you can apply the following semester if you were not accepted. So it's a pretty straightforward process, but of course, once you're admitted, you'll be surrounded by so many RAs that will be happy to answer any further questions that you have.
Thank you. The next question is asking if we could just comment on the 30-mile radius policy. Is it true that if we live within that radius, we're not guaranteed to live on campus? And is there a difference in this if I'm admitted to an honors program?
Yeah, so just to give some context, the radius policy is something that campus residences has had as a business practice, but has not had to implement because housing demand has not been high prior. In the last 2 years, the demand for housing has been extremely high. And so in order to prioritize students who live a certain distance, we have had to implement a 30-mile radius policy. However, the important caveat to note at this point is that this radius is only a potential radius policy. We have not implemented it in that we have not determined if we will need to have it or not at this point. After the May 1st deposit deadline, once we find out what our housing demand looks like and how many students have accepted their admission to Stony Brook, how many are looking to live on campus, at that point, we will really have a better sense of what our housing spaces look like and how many students we can accommodate with that. And so at that point, we will know if we need to even implement a radius policy at all. Um, Even if we do, it might just be 15 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles. It's hard to say at this point. But at this point, we're preemptively having to block students who live within a 30-mile radius from completing the application, just until we're able to determine further demand. And so anyone who falls in this category, I will just say, keep an eye out on your email. You will receive more information once we have made determinations, and that nothing is set in, or nothing has been fully determined or decided as to the impact of the radius at this point. In any case, if we are unable to provide you with on-campus housing because of the radius policy, we will refund your housing deposit in full. And so just something to note. And then to the part about the honors college, at this time, even if you are on the honors college but fall in the radius, you would not be able to complete your application until we've made the final determination after May 1st.
Thank you. If I am not, let's say I'm starting as a first-year student, but I'm not in one of the honors programs that would live in Yang Hall, when can I actually choose to live in Yang Hall? Is that going to ever be an option for me?
Yes, so Yang Hall is one of our mixed buildings in that it has a mixture of first-year students and continuing students. So there are some floors that are only first-year students, and there are some floors that are only continuing students. So beyond your first year, you would then have the option to potentially be eligible for those continuing student spaces in Yang Hall. And so as you participate in the room selection housing application processes in your sophomore, junior, senior year, you would be eligible for those continuing spaces in Yang.
Thank you.
Mhm.
If I want to live with another student, but we have different majors that aren't part of the same undergraduate college, how does that work in my first year?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So like we have said, and like the undergraduate colleges will say, you are encouraged to live in the housing community that corresponds with your UGC, primarily because all of the programming, all of the advising resources will be present or will be partnered with that housing community. And so if you live in a different community, you would then have to commute essentially or travel to that other residence hall to make use of the resources and of those professional staff that are going to be there. With that said, you are able to still form a group or live with someone that is not in the same major as you. We do not prevent that on a housing standpoint. And so you can still form a group with them and live in one of your UGCs or housing communities. But however, like I mentioned, you are encouraged to live in the community that corresponds with your UGC. And that is a recommended path.
Excellent. This is a good question. Is the 30-mile radius policy, how is it measured? Is it driving distance from my house on, with Waze? How exactly is it determined?
Yeah, so the 30 miles is actually straight line distance and not driving distance. So if you are looking on Google Maps or Waze, that would obviously give you driving distance. And so, for someone who is on the border, they might get a different value than what we are seeing. And so it is straight line distance and how our system classifies you as or calculates your distance as. And then if you do happen to fall in the radius, you would get a corresponding email from our office. So you would just know that which group or which bucket you fall in at the moment.
And so am I understanding that priority is given to students who submit the housing application first?
No, so when you complete your housing application does not actually determine or doesn't have any bearing. All students just have to complete it by the deadline of June 11th. That's our deadline. Um, Obviously, our selection of spaces starts towards the end of May. And the longer you wait to select your space, the fewer options you would have to select from. But when you start your application or when you submit the first part does not impact what kind of spaces you can select. We just recommend you go in as soon as possible once you're eligible. That way you're completing all the steps in a timely manner.
Good advice. This is a great question that we get a lot in admissions. If I indicated on my application that I was not going to live on campus, but now I would like to be considered to live on campus, does that have any impact? And I can confidently say that really only the deposit, the campus residences deposit and the application for campus residences will impact living on campus, not what you put on your application for admission. Oh, this is a good question. I submitted in my application on the housing portal a few days ago. It only allowed me to pick between living on campus or commuting. When do we get to give our preference for the undergraduate college or housing communities?
That is an interesting question. If you're able to elaborate further, I know you mentioned housing portal. However, on our end, we do not necessarily collect preferences for on-campus or commuting. Um, So I would recommend if you would like us, if you would like to email us just so that we can look into it. A very important resource that I was going to get into later is our email inbox. It's called reside@stonybrooke.edu. It's managed and overseen by professional staff in the campus residences area, and typically you can get a response within 2 to 4 business days. And so if there's any unique questions or individualized questions in here or needs more context, we definitely encourage you to email us so that we can look into your matter further. But for this question that came up, yes, I would encourage you to email us with any screenshots just so we can clarify that you are referencing the correct system and the correct application.
Okay. Is there a different housing for student athletes at Stony Brook?
So athlete housing for first years is mixed in with our traditional first year communities. We do work very closely with the athletics department on placements. And so if you have any questions on that end, I would definitely connect with the athletics department. But when it comes to the types of spaces or communities, we were pretty much mixed in with other first years.
Okay. Let's see, a lot of questions coming in. This is good. So we have, is there a way to meet roommates, maybe through social media or a specific website where we can get in touch with other first year students?
Yeah, so actually two-part this question. I'll let Lindsay Samama add some thoughts on this, but from an official standpoint of how you can look for roommates, in the housing application itself in the housing portal, when you do complete your roommates rebate preferences, you are able to form groups if desired. And as part of that group formation, you can see suggested roommates and reach out to those roommates based on their profile and connect with them. And so essentially you can send them a message through the housing portal, and then you would then communicate through that. Oftentimes students then share their social handles or email and then start communicating off the portal. But the portal does have a way for you to connect with students who sort of match your profiles. But Lindsay, Samama, are there other things in your purview that you think students tend to use to find roommates outside of that?
I know there were a lot of group chats formed on like Instagram and Facebook when I was a freshman. Those, if I'm not mistaken, aren't monitored by the university, though. I think students kind of form that on their own. People in the honors college, I remember, formed groups as well, and people kind of found roommates that way. I think there are a few Instagram pages with like incoming classes where they'll post like information about themselves if you like DM it to the account. So you could go about using those. That's what I use, and that's what a lot of people use to find a roommate. But a lot of people also go random and then they'll see their incoming roommate's name and they'll either email them or look them up on social media and try to find them that way.
Yeah, my experience was really similar. There was an SBU class of 2025 Instagram page that was made, and my friends and I would literally go down the list of accounts that followed it and would like create group chats. And we talk about like who was interested in rooming with each other. But at first I did utilize that housing portal messaging system, where I was grouped with someone who had similar interests to me, and then we did chatted on the portal to get more information, and we actually found out we weren't a fit. So we had that time to look for someone else.
Okay. So if I can't log into my account because I'm not receiving a code, what do I do? And is that a common thing that could happen?
No, that would be a question for Do It, which is a Department of Information Technology. And you're probably facing issues with your Duo login, depending on where you are. And so I would definitely connect with Do It or submit a ticket with them. I do know this tends to be a common issue for new students coming in because they can't log in, get into their net ID. And they're usually fairly able to get students a quick fix on how to get into their net ID. So that would be a question for them.
All right. All right, let's go back up here. Oh man, just read through this. Okay, so this student just wants to clarify that, do they need the name of the person they want to live with at the time they're completing the initial housing application?
Not when you're completing the application, but you will need to know their name when you are forming a roommate group. That way you can invite them to join your group and then form that roommate group. I will also mention quickly, I've mentioned roommate groups a lot. You are not required to select a room as a group. You can definitely select as an individual, and then any vacant spaces in your room will be available for other students to select from. The roommate group option is more so just meant for students who know someone either prior to coming to Stony Brook or have gotten to know someone in the process and want to live with them specifically. So you can definitely pick a room by yourself as an individual as well.
Okay. So this is another student also just clarifying that if they have already provided their campus residences deposit, that they can't complete the housing form until after May 1 because they live within the 30-mile radius.
Yes, correct. So even if you have submitted a deposit, you won't be able to access your housing application at this point. So you would have to wait until we can provide you with an update on the radius after that time.
Okay. If I live out of state, and definitely more than 30 miles from campus, should I be worried about the possibility of not being able to live on campus?
It's a good question. As it comes to the radius, in that sense, you will definitely not be impacted because you are out of state. Um, and we do prioritize students who complete all application steps or required deadlines. Um, However, the caveat of, we never know what can happen, or you can never see what's in the future. We hope everything goes well, but to your question, as long as you complete everything that's required, meet all deadlines, taking all the steps, you should be okay in that sense.
Okay. So for a student who's been admitted into the EOP AIM program, who doesn't actually pay deposits, but confirms admission, are they also able to complete a housing application?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So there are two buckets of students. A majority of students pay the housing deposit, but there are some students like EOP who are not required to pay a housing deposit. And so for those students, their first initial step when it comes to housing is to complete the on-campus housing intent form. That is also available in the housing portal. And essentially in that intent form, you're just telling us whether or not you want to live on campus. If you say you want to live on campus, that makes you eligible to complete the housing application. If you say you don't want to live on campus, you won't be able to complete the housing application. So for anyone who is not required to pay a deposit, you want to keep an eye out for the on-campus housing intent. It is a button by itself in the housing portal, and that's the first thing you want to complete before your application.
Okay. How are first year residences kind of mixed up between genders? Is it everyone in one building or in one floor? How does that work?
Yeah. Also, real quick, I know Kristen just joined, but we have another one of our team members just joined the meeting. Kristen, at any point, if you want to jump in, feel free to hop on.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Apologies. I'm here.
But to the question about genders, all of our first year residential halls are corridor style. And so a floor is designated as a gender, or a section of a floor is designated as gender. And so every student in that hallway would be of the same gender eligibility and would be the only ones essentially sharing the bathroom on that floor. So a building itself could have people from different genders, but a specific floor or hallway would only have students from one gender.
Okay. And if I'm not in an honors program, but I want to live in Yang, is that absolutely not possible as a first year student? Or is there any chance?
Yes.
Okay.
As a first year student, you are not eligible for Yang if you are not part of honors or Simon STEM scholars.
Okay, and this is just there, someone had a similar question. If they're from out of state and they don't know anyone, they don't have a group, you did say you could just choose a space and you'll meet your roommate, after, which is what I think most college students do, right? Is that pretty common?
I would say so. Yeah, I think most may not know anyone coming in, and then they connect with their potential roommates after they've all been placed in the space.
Okay. Oh, how can I qualify for gender inclusive housing?
Yeah. Kristen, did you want to take that one?
Sure. So the gender inclusive housing application is a separate application from the regular new student housing application process. Both are accessed through the housing portal. But there are different dates in relation to the gender inclusive housing process. But essentially, the gender inclusive housing components will take you through a separate application, and there will be a certain amount of statements and information regarding what gender inclusive housing is and who it's meant for and who it is not meant for. Ultimately saying that the gender inclusive housing community is really for any person, no matter what gender or identity that they have or are. And it's basically going through those affirmation statements to say, like, yes, I agree and understand to live in gender inclusive housing, which means I'll have roommates or suite mates who are also could be of any gender identity. In references, there's references to other gender inclusive spaces where those will be in the building. And affirming that they feel comfortable living with LGBTQ plus students, also trans and non-binary people. So it is a component that allies can also be a part of. But we do take it very seriously because it's not like this is just a program where folks who might want to live with their partner, be it a girlfriend or boyfriend or what have you, it's not just a free-for-all in that sense. Like, this is a very specific community that we love for folks to be a part of, and because some folks choose to opt into it and understand what those responsibilities are, and some folks see it as an opportunity just to serve themselves, which is not what this is, and we do take this very seriously. So if any folks are considering gender inclusive housing, great, we're happy to have you, but please make sure you're reading through all of the statements and the components for that community. And it is a renewal process every year if you wish to stay in a gender inclusive housing, similar to the regular, the standard housing application. It's a both and process.
Okay. A question that we in admissions get a lot, and I'm sure you do too, is, you don't know your roommate yet, you haven't met them, and you're going to be living with someone new. What happens if you don't get along? What are some supports that are kind of built into campus residences for not liking your roommate, or maybe disagreeing on certain things?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So when it comes to not getting along with your roommate, we also encourage folks to try to work it out, because knowing that there is extremely high demand for campus, there's not always a space where someone can move to. Ideally, once we get into the fall semester, there are opportunities to swap, which is, you come across somebody who has a same type room as you do, and you're both eligible to be swapping into the other community. That is a potential opportunity that can happen. But when it comes to you arrive to the university, you've gone through orientation, you've gone through a couple weeks of classes and things aren't working out, we do ask that students connect with their RA first, so that way they can go over the roommate agreement that they've already signed and, talked about sort of the stipulations of what it's like to be living with another person in a shared space, but also in a community style building. And then you can have that, whether it be a mediation process or just, airing out the things and seeing what has to be discussed, what's not being talked about, what's an appropriate way to talk about something, and go through that process. And then from there, it's really a matter of, or we also know that sometimes it's a matter of you went through the housing selection process and there's two parties who know that they both want to live with the other person. So maybe it's not necessarily about a disagreement, it was just about how the process was for housing that was selected. So we recognize that there are different reasons for why somebody might want to change their room. And we do have more resources for that on our website as well as in the housing portal. But there are potentially options that people can go to after they have their confirmed housing assignment.
Okay. So can I have the same room every year or every semester, or do I move rooms every semester or every year?
So a student has the same room assignment for the academic year that they have signed their agreement for. Going into the next year, especially going from first year to your second or sophomore year, it would be extremely unlikely that you'd remain in the same room because for the next year, you're looking to move into a community that is for continuing and upperclassmen students. You would not be living necessarily in the same community that you're in now. So beyond that, it is possible you could return to the same community once you're in one of the upper class areas, but not for the first year that you're in. So you would remain where you are for the current year, give or take, unless somebody makes a request to change their space. And then same thing too, I guess, going towards the end of fall semester, the fall housing bill and the spring housing bill comprise the entire academic year. So there is no gap in between fall and spring. So for the winter break, the space is still yours. You can leave your things there, take what you want to go home, and then come back for spring semester and you're all set. But then you would do the renewal process to then choose a space for the next year. And ideally, if you're staying on campus year after year, that would be the process.
Thank you. We also get this question, very popular question. What are the situations or qualifications I would need to live in a single? I don't want a roommate. What if I don't want a roommate? How does that work?
So the majority of incoming students do live in double occupancy spaces. There are a small handful of spaces that are single occupancy in Roosevelt community. They are first come, first serve. They will go by very quickly. Most people will not live, I guess, to really put your expectations where they should be, don't expect to live in a single room because it's very unlikely to happen. And congratulations to those who are able to snag one during the room selection process. Again, doesn't mean you can't request to try to move into one later on if that is your desire. And even then, most students live in a double. Some students choose to live in a design 3-person room. There's also economy rooms. There's also the temporary triple rooms that will also happen. So expect to have one or multiple roommates. If there is a medical need as to why somebody might require a single room or a disability impacting somebody's medical needs, that is a process that's separate. The housing process is still the same where you'd have to apply to housing, but you'd have to go through the Student Accessibility and Support Center to register for accommodations for housing. And then from there, what we call as SASC, SASC, the SASC team reviews the referral, and then based on the documentation that they receive from the interactive process between the student and the counselor, the documentation that's from their medical provider or other people, they review that and they'll make the recommendation for our office for the most appropriate room type, regardless of the location on campus.
Thank you. If I live out of state or if I'm from overseas, are there any storage options on campus during the summer?
Fantastic question. Through campus residences, there is not a storage option. Once the year ends, you are required to fully vacate your room, and basically it looks like exactly how it was when you moved in, which is empty aside from the furniture that's already provided. There are some offices that we connect with who help to support summer storage solutions, one of which being FedEx, who manages summer storage through the Auxiliary Services Association. So there are programs that the university partners with, but otherwise campus residences does not have storage for summertime.
Okay, good. So I wanted to clarify for someone asked about, we mentioned the Duo and NetID, all of that, your Stony Brook email address, your NetID, and then authentication apps are all happen after you commit to the university, usually within 3 to 5 days. So if you're wondering, where is my NetID and you haven't committed to Stony Brook yet, you won't get it for a couple days until after you commit. And that could be, you know, today or May 1st. You have until then to do so. Shale, you mentioned, and I think really put it in a nice way about the 30-mile radius policy. I know it causes a lot of stress, but could you just kind of repeat your, you know, statement about how we don't want to have to use it and we're hoping not to, but we don't know yet?
Yeah, so as we mentioned, housing is in high demand this year, and will be going to next year as well. The deposit deadline for new students to the university is May 1st. And so until then, we will not really have a clear idea of what our demand is like and if the spaces we have can accommodate all the students that have deposited. So as a preemptive measure, anyone within a 30-mile radius, straight line distance to the university, will not be able to complete their housing application, even if they've submitted a deposit and are eligible. After May 1st, we anticipate looking at numbers, data, seeing what our demand is like, and making a decision as to whether we need to even implement a radius or not. Or if we do implement a radius, is it a 5-mile, 10-mile, 15-mile, 20-mile? We don't know yet, depending on how many students fall in the category and how many spaces we are short. To anyone that is in this bucket right now, we would just encourage you to hang tight for a moment until we can make further determinations. You can also definitely start exploring any off-campus housing options if Stony Brook is your end destination and your university in the event that you are not able to get on-campus housing. But that to say, we will provide more updates later on in May and going into June. And like we mentioned, if we are unable to provide you with on-campus housing because of the radius policy, we will fully refund your housing deposit. In addition to that, anyone impacted by the radius, like our video mentioned, we have a new community opening at the end of the fall known as Seawolds Village, which is going to add 492 beds to our housing inventory. So that's a lot of beds and can accommodate quite a few students. And so anyone, if we do implement a radius, anyone that is impacted by it will have the opportunity to fill beds in our new community. And so then that would be their chance to get on campus housing either late in the fall or into the spring semester and then get on campus that way.
Thank you. So we made it to 8 o'clock very quickly. Does anyone have any kind of final words for our guests or future Seawolves?
Something I mentioned earlier and something I tend to mention is please, please, please read your emails. Please make sure you're not just glancing through them, reading them in its entirety. Some of us here spend a lot of time writing those emails, so we'd appreciate if you read through them. But no, they contain a lot of important information, important dates, deadlines. So make sure you read them and then make sure you're meeting all those deadlines in those emails. And that's just not for housing, but that's a good practice as a college student and just in life. Today is tax deadline, so like you got to meet deadlines, so things need to happen because if you don't, then you tend to miss out on something. So make sure you read everything and meet deadlines. And that's on my end. I don't know if anyone has anything.
Yeah.
Great advice. Go ahead, Margaret.
Say that, for those of you that decide to live with us on campus, get involved. As you can see, our 2 RAs that are with us today, I'm sure that they can echo these sentiments that get involved. It's very easy to do within your own building. There are tons of events and programs that our wonderful RAs spend a lot of time putting together. And get involved with your hall council. That's just like a little mini student government within your building. And it's a great way to make friends and feel a part of a community that is a very big school. So get involved. So after all the stuff that Shell just said about, meeting your deadlines, reading your emails, and then once you get here, it's a lot of fun.
And I think too, I know there's been a lot of uncertainty and fear potentially about knowing if there's going to be a radius or not, which, to remind everybody, we still don't know if it's something that's going to happen. It's not something that we can control. It depends on the number of students who are looking to, one, be a part of the university, and two, live on campus housing. So that being said, if you don't have the experience of living on campus this fall because of the number of students, it doesn't mean that you can't be a part of the campus community, because we want you to still be here. For as many students who live on campus, there's that many plus more who live off campus and either commute from their parents' house or family houses. So, we're here because I also want folks to live on campus housing, but it's not the end all be all too. So there's more options that are out there. There's plenty of resources too from the university and beyond. So just make sure you're looking to see what's out there, and their staff are always available to help.
Thank you so much, everyone. I always appreciate when the experts come and speak with new students, because in admissions, we know a lot of a little bit about everything, but not the details. So we really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much to our guests that joined us. Congratulations again. Good luck with your decision-making process. You have a few days left before May 1st, and we wish you the best of luck with your decision. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Night.